So my name is Sean Casey. I own barbershops and a salon in the area, a total of 6 barbershops and salons called Twin Cuts. My story, a little bit about me. I started my journey back in 1999 in New York City. My son was born in high school. That's my why of jumping into a career, because I wasn't excited about high school at all. And that negative energy was causing me to do a lot of stupid things when I was younger as well. Getting in and out of trouble as a kid, rebelling against my grandparents. But a big slap in the face was, finding out my girlfriend was having a baby while I was a senior. I was terrified and I was scared and I had no direction. I was working a weekend job at the movie theater, not doing anything. What I'm gonna do? Graduate, my son's already 4 months old. And my dad calls me up and says, hey, what are you doing with your life? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, what do you like to do? And I was like, I like to cut hair. He's like, well, if you want to cut hair, what you're gonna have to do is you got to go to school for it. I was like, sure, I'll do that. And I jumped into school and I didn't realize how much I was really gonna love it. As I was going, I was becoming that student was pretty good. And I loved it. We do the lines and the fades and everything. Oh man, that's a great job. And I'm getting into school. I get my first job. How good I was out of school? I was pretty sucky in the real world. This is what's gonna make or break you in the industry. Learn to take criticism. I had this really eccentric girl working next to me. Then I had this other guy that worked with me. And this guy was like in and out of prison. Half of his face is tilted up. He goes in between, does pull-ups on a bar all day long. He's like 62 years old. And I'm literally doing a fade and I'm like, oh man, why is it not coming out good? And he walks up to me and he takes the clipper out of my hand. Like he shakes his head and looks at me and like, so I was so mad. Like I had my dust brusher and I just like kind of threw it to the wall and I walked outside. And he came behind me and he was like, yo, if you want to act like you got to take criticism because that thing sucks. First of all, I'm not going to talk back to him. I'm 19 years old, about 140 pounds. The thing I did take from that was when he grabbed that clipper, that fade, I picked something up from that movement. Was like, it changed my life. 2005, my son lives here. I would come every 3 months, spend like a long weekend, right? And I would see my son at different stages. Mind you, I was 18 years old when my son was born. Was I a dad? Hell no, I wasn't a dad. I was like the picture dad. Like I would come in the van like, hey, take the picture, great dad. I'm going out to the club, see you, grandma. And I was gone, you know what I mean? I didn't know, but it started maturing. And as I was getting older, 22, 23, 24, and I was doing this routine, he was getting older. So he wasn't the little dead weight baby that I was used to seeing. Like, oh God, feed him, crap, routine, hold him, stop him crying. Now he's like super shy when he sees me. He'll shake out of it. Everyone's like, daddy, 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 daddy. And then he would start being attached to me. And then I had to break from that and leave. And my grandma's like, oh baby, he's going to work. And one of the last times I did it, he was 6 years old. And he's looking at me and he's waving. And I was like, oh man, this is tough. So I made this decision out the blue. My birthday was May 22nd. If you asked me that day, I'm partying in a club where Derek Jeter's hosting a party. If you asked me that day, you going back to Florida? I said, no, I would not tell you no. Something hit me within a month time. I'm going back, grabbing my stuff, and I'm driving back, and I'm gonna start my life here in Fort Myers, Florida. And it was so drastic change. You're talking about New York City, stop and go. You go to walk to the corner store, everything's walking distance. You could get jobs. I could take a subway 3 stops and watch the New York Knicks play. This conversation with my dad, again, my first conversation was him, let's get you started with school. My second conversation with him was like, I need to do something, this is not right. I think I'm going back to Florida to be closer to my son. He supported me. He's like, I think so. I think that's what you need to do. He goes, what kind of plan do you have for yourself? Because it's different. Here you can make money because it's fast paced. You could freelance, you could do a lot. In Florida, what's your plan? I said, I'll get myself a barber shop. So Rodney, the guy that I work with at the shop, he passed away about a year later, right? One of his family members took in, he didn't care about the business. It was just like check, 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 check. Place was falling apart. We tried so many ways to save it. It was awful. The guys were like, yo, we need something new. I had the opportunity to get a first shop. I did it. Yeah. When it came down to it, nobody believed in me. And I went by myself and I opened up the doors by myself. And I was like, that means I gotta open up an hour earlier. I need to stay an hour later. And I'm gonna utilize my space, right? Like we're talking about before Facebook. My space, when everyone's connecting and putting their music on the homepage, I was like flyer. And little by little, that first guy comes in, hey, I'm out of school, can I get a job? And he comes in and he's there every day. And then the second guy comes in. In about 3 months, I turned my 6 chairs into a 10-man shop. So I had 4 barbershops. Everything's going good. I exercise, go into the gym, touch my neck. I got a bump on my neck. Then I get one over here. Then I get one over here. Then over here. Then I got one here. I shave my head every single day. This is not what I normally have. I'm like, what is this on my head? Go to the doctor. The practitioner puts her hands on my neck, step back, looks at me, goes, I want you to take this blood test and I need you to do an x-ray. And I want you to have my personal number, and if you feel any certain way, please give me a call. I don't care how busy we are, I will fit you in. And I go to a trade show in Vegas, I do a bunch of classes, and right before I get on the plane to Vegas, I missed a phone call from the doctor. I call her personal number on. She says, I'm so sorry. Your PET scan came back. Your whole body's glowing. Lymphoma is blood cancer. When we got the results back and they did the biopsy and everything, I was close to stage 4. 4 is in the brain. I did biopsy as I did tests, didn't speak to anybody. Came home, looked at my kids every day. My daughter's about 4 years old. Keep a smile on my face. The worst, I have to run a business and I'm pushing. You either be bitter about it or get better from the situation. The person sitting next to me must have thought I was an emotional mess. I was like sitting in the plane. I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to fight the eyes. I'm thinking, I'm like, my son's graduating high school. I'm not even gonna see him. My daughter's starting kindergarten. I'm not gonna see her grow. To me, I'm dead. I'm dead. And then thinking, I'm like, you know what? Enjoy the moment. What do I gotta do next? And that's what I did. I took every day of what I need to do next. I didn't think about yesterday. I had to go 6 chemo sessions in 10 months, 8-hour chemo sessions. I had the extreme one where bags and bags of fluid. I would see people in and out of chemo, how many people in there, and it was like cattle, and I'm just sitting there. And I remember that first one, fighting it and going through that. And the first one ain't too bad. And it doesn't hit you till about 4 days. And I'm like, I got this. And I kept saying, I got this. And I'm washing my face and my beard falls off like a Christmas tree. And I did class, I still worked. I would get chemo on a Wednesday, I'd be in the barbershop working on a Thursday. On Friday and Saturday, I never stopped. And I went to London and I trained in London while I was on chemotherapy. And I went to Bronner Brothers, I did a stage, big show. After that, I fly home and I was shaking. Like it was times I'd wake up, after the 5th, 6th, it was like somebody threw a bottle of water on my body every day. The one day I took rest and I didn't go to work was the most emotional, sad day. And I said, I'll never do that. I will never do that. I'm working, I don't care, I'd rather die. Pushing through it, and my kid's saying he kept a smile on his face. I'm happy for the moment that I'm living in. My mind was like, you know what, there's a 10-year-old kid in the hospital bed right now that can't even walk. I've traveled New Orleans, Vegas, New York, Atlanta, all these places. I've lived a great life. If I was to die, I'm blessed. Took me to the hospital, put me on fluids. I was supposed to be there 3 weeks. In 24 hours, my white blood cells got to the point that I was able to leave the hospital in 3 days. I did it. It meant to change. They were like, yo, your pain threshold is crazy. It was my thought, I got this. No, I'm gonna beat it. And I beat it. And I got past that. I did my blood test and I'm in remission. I beat cancer. So, I
feel like I went through a whole movie. You know, I had emotions. I was crying. I was like, oh yay, nice. And then I was just like back to crying again. But it was definitely an emotional roller coaster. You definitely been through a lot. Like, I don't even think I can.
You could do it.
Like, it's crazy.
You could do it. When you have your why. My son was my why. My daughter is my new why. My why. Find your why. It doesn't have to be kids all the time. Find your why. Your why is going to push you through everything in this world. It's going to bring out the best of you, but you got to know why you're doing it.